Now, being patriotic or patriotism is a very important thing. You know, if there's ever going to be a time that will be us will be able to come together, put all hands on deck to build with one mission, one purpose, one agenda, patriotic people, and this topic of patriotism is going to play a central role. If you look at some of the things that has helped nations like the United States of America, if you've looked closely, one of the pillars and those factors was because they decided they had patriotic people, patriotic citizens. People who just do things just because it's the United States of America. People who will go push very hard. People who will sacrifice a lot of things just because it's the United States of America. You've seen it. You've seen it in sports. You've seen it in a lot of things. You've seen it on the military front. People who do things just because it's the United States of America. You know, that undying love for one's nation, for your country, patriotism, very important. If you've looked at what happened in World War II and how the Russians were able to defend Kaliningrad, men and women were willing to lay down their lives to defend their homeland. It's all out of patriotism. I mean, the objective of the Germans was to take over Russia. I mean, if they had been successful, I mean, what we were going to find in history today will be totally different. But thanks to something called patriotism, an undying love for one's nation, an undying love for one's country, men and women lay down their lives to make sure the German army will never take Kaliningrad. And today, Russia is a sovereign nation as a result of that. It would have been a different song the world would be singing if the Germans were able to take Kaliningrad. Now, even the Germans themselves, if you have looked at the German army properly, the German army of World War II, there was this sense of patriotism and national identity, that galvanized, reinforced their mindset and psyche. If you look at the landmass that the Germans took over in World War II, it's shocking because these guys were not so much. Yet, because of this kind of thinking, Adolf Hitler was able to mobilize an entire nation to war. Patriotism. Very powerful. If you look down here in Africa, a lot of countries, nations, a lot of us left that plant, we left that tree of patriotism to die. The seedlings or the seed of patriotism, a lot of our founding fathers, a lot of the pioneers of our independence here in Africa planted a lot of those trees, a lot of those seedlings were left to die. The very time and moment some of these men, pioneers of our independence, left office. For some reason, those who took over from them, for some reason, refused to water those seedlings of patriotism. Now, if I localize it and bring it even down here to Ghana, if you've studied Osagyefo's campaign and role and his speeches, you realize one of the strong pillars which even helped him win, which even helped us as a people, as a nation, win independence from our colonial masters. One of those strong pillars was this sense of patriotism, love for your nation. The love, undying love for your nation is very important. If there is ever going to be a time we are going to build, if there's ever going to be a time we are going to be able to mobilize, we are going to be able to get all hands on deck to build as one people, one nation, one vision, one agenda, it will not happen in the absence of this element called patriotism. It's not going to happen. It's very important. There are a lot of things we have to do. There are a lot of things we are supposed to do. But without this element of patriotism, we cannot be able to achieve it. Now, when you take two citizens of a nation, a patriotic citizen is a selfless citizen. An unpatriotic citizen is a selfish citizen. It's very important. When people go around and start complaining and shouting, there's corruption here, there's corruption there, there's corruption here, corruption there, corruption there, corruption A, B, C, D to Z. It's simple. What you are looking at is the rise, is the influx of unpatriotic citizens. And you see it across the board when you look closely. You see, when we get to a place where everybody prioritizes their self-interest over the interest of the masses, we are in a dangerous place. And you see it. I can go down to a lot of examples, practical examples, to bring the picture, to help those of you listening to connect to some of these things I'm talking about. We have to go back. You see, since Osagyefo left office, there hasn't been any leader, any president that has really focused on rebuilding that national sense of national identity, that love for our nation, that undying love. If you have looked closely, we've not really had any leader, any president that has tried to, build that thing up. Even with public education, with decision making, with a focus to try to connect and gel everybody together, to allow us to be able to think in that way and not have that sense of love for our nation. It has not been done. And it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And it spells doom for any nation. The reason why Gaddafi is not there anymore is because he probably did not also focus on that area and that aspect of intentionally making decisions, intentionally setting up things